This is the DTV Digest, the podcast that brings you news and reviews of films which didn't make it to the cinema. And now, here's your host, Mike Parkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DTV Digest. I'm your host, Mike Parkin, and joining me tonight is Richard Hawes.
Hello, everyone.
And welcome back, Stephen Luckridge.
Hello.
This week, we've got two main reviews to look at. We're going to kick off with Desperation Road, which finds Garrett Hedlund and Mel Gibson teaming up. Then we have an Irish film called Wickedly Evil. Our short shot is The Hatchling, and our DTV Throwback is called Double Edge. So, without further ado, let's crack on. Our first film then is Desperation Road. Set in a tough and tumble Mississippi town, a young woman and her daughter are caught in the crossfire when whiskey, guns, and the desire for revenge violently intersect. Unfortunately, I didn't get to finish this one, Steve, and the reason being the screener we had access to had limited number of views, and I made the mistake of stopping and starting. But I did get a flavour of the film. So we have this young woman and her daughter end up in this town, in pretty much destitute. I mean, my heartstrings were going when you see them sort of trudging around with their meager possessions in a bin bag, as they're and having to walk from place to place. It was pretty grim. And then it gets even worse when she gets accosted by this fucking cop, basically raped, or coerced into having sex with him, shall we say? No, raped, definitely raped.
Yeah.
And so she managed to get the drop on him with his own gun. That kicks off the police. In the meantime, she ends up crossing paths with Garrett Hedlund's character, who's fresh out of prison. Also got his own issues, and staying. I didn't get as far as to find out what the relationship is between him and Mel Gibson's character. Are they actually related, or is he just sort of like?
Yeah, it's his dad.
It is his dad. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. There have been some very interesting films about sort of small town crimes, that sort of thing. How did you get on with this?
Right, like you said at the beginning, I wasn't really feeling it. I just thought
it's a misery fest, isn't it? At the beginning?
It's misery porn basically. And then it gets about 20 minutes in. I mean, you saw the bit where he gets off the coach.
Yeah.
He gets beaten up straight away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what did this for me was the performances. So I thought Garrett Hedlund was fantastic. I mean, Mel Gibson is basically just doing what he's done for the last 30 years, you know what I mean? And also, what's his name? The guy who basically beat him up at the beginning. Ryan Hurst, who played Larry. Absolutely fucking phenomenal in this. If this was a cinema release, he should be getting nominated for Best Supporting Actor next year at the Oscars. He is absolutely amazing.
That was Ryan Hurst, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I've not heard of him before. I've not seen him in anything, I don't think. Looking at it, he's been in like SWAT and stuff like that, but not stuff that I've come across. He's amazing. And I thought Garrett Hedlund was great as well. He's, to me, known for Tron legacy, and that's about it.
Yeah,
really.
of course.
But in this, I think it's great. And when you find out what the actual conceit is and what the link between them is, which is about halfway, 3/4 way through the film, it makes sense. It all clicks, all connects, and it's actually a decent way that it could happen. If you know what I mean, it's not far-fetched, it's not overblown, it's just kind of shit on shit, basically. But I thoroughly enjoyed this. Having, like I said, 20 minutes in, I'm thinking, no, not for me. It is basically just misery porn at first, and then it doesn't get any more cheerful, but it gets
You're riveted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Riveted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was hooked after that. I
Damn.
really was. Whether you guys would have enjoyed it as much, I don't know. But I just thought, because I mean, he's basically like his character Larry. He's basically an alcoholic, you know. He's going through a lot of stuff, and you know, sometimes when people play out, they overplay it. You know, they play it too drunk, and I'm bored, and he just nails it. Oh my god, it's the best drunk I've seen on camera for a long time.
Awesome.
I'd say the only weak point really is the main female Maven, Willa Fitzgerald. She's not as showy a performance as the others, should I say?
Right.
And you know, obviously she's got the beginning, which is quite harrowing to be fair. But
yeah, I did enjoy her shooting the cop, I must admit.
Oh god, yeah.
That was a nice cathartic moment quite early on. Yeah.
It's the bit where Senator Al says, "Oh yeah, he's on the phone. He's got his mates coming over as well."
Yeah, fuck off, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a big point as well, because you got so Garrett Hedlund's character is friends with is it the deputy, one of the cops?
Yeah, one of the sheriff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And because he's aware of the case, but I think he's a different sort of arm of the law, as it were, because you know, there's difference between sort of like, you know, local PD and the sheriff department or something.
No, I think he's a sheriff, but he's a local lad. He's grew up there.
Yeah.
And the one at the beginning, apparently, he says like he came in about 3 or 4 years ago, and everyone said he's a dick. Nobody liked him. Yeah.
Yeah. No one's going to mourn his passing. Yeah. Cool. All right, mate. On that note, how are you going to score it?
I'm giving it an 8.
Awesome. I'm not going to score it because I don't think I've seen enough of it, but I totally endorse your recommendation. If you get a chance to see it, please do. That is an 8 for Desperation Road. Go check it out. Our next film is Wickedly Evil. A group of criminals lay low in the remote Irish countryside after pulling off an audacious robbery. As they plan their escape, they quickly realize the robbery will be the last thing to go right for them. Okay, who ordered Reservoir Dogs meets Derry Girls? That's right. That's right. No one ordered this piece of
that's not fair.
You don't think that's fair?
I don't think that's fair.
Okay.
I mean, I've never watched Derry Girls, but I don't think that's fair.
You've seen Reservoir Dogs, though.
Yes, and I've also seen The Cottage.
I would kill for Reservoir Dogs Derry Girls, to be honest. I thought Derry Girls was awesome. This rubbed me up the wrong way from start to finish. I'll talk about my thoughts on this in a minute. Let's kick over to Steve.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Mike. To be honest, it wasn't great. It's it's Reservoir Dogs with Derry Girls, and then a little bit of, I don't know, Lost Boys thrown in at the end.
Lost Boys, From Dusk Till Dawn, whatever you want to play.
Yeah, because it just comes out of nowhere. I'll be honest, it is kind of a spoiler, but the last 5 minutes where you find out?
Very much the last 5 minutes, yeah.
And there's not even a hint of anything earlier on. Really, I think you see an old woman in the background, but that's about it.
Yeah, which didn't make any sense at all in context.
Yeah, and I don't know. It just seemed very, very light. You've got three criminals, should I say? Like you say, one's injured and don't say a word. And you've got two just bickering all the time, and then you've got the other girl who is kidnapped just to shut her up.
Yeah.
And it's just them two bickering.
So you could
5 minutes, and that's it.
I mean, you could, the plot points from Reservoir Dogs. You've got the heist. Oh God, the cops are waiting for us. There must be a mole. There's one of them gets shot on the escape. They take a hostage. They hole up, wondering who's who the mole is. One of them's a complete psychopath and making things a lot worse. And then things do get worse when their boss turns up at the end. So it is literally Reservoir Dogs.
Is it literally City on Fire as well? Which was the film that Reservoir Dogs copied?
No, because Reservoir Dogs only copied a little bit of City on Fire, and that Reservoir Dogs copied the three-way shootout at the end. The Mexican standoff bit, basically, and the idea that the injured guy is the mole in the first place. But yeah, as Steve said, it is just bickering. We watched a film, Rich, a few episodes back, called The Price We Pay. Which is very similar in concept to this, in that it's a mishmash of genres. But at least in that one, you had criminals who had a air of professionalism about them. There was no shrill histrionics between them. They didn't like each other very much, but they kept it professional, at least. These two, it's the Chuckle Brothers, for God's sake. Yeah. That's what it is.
Bumbling idiots, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I've got no time for them. I really had no time for either of them. They weren't charming. I had
lovable rogues.
Exactly. They weren't lovable rogues or anything. One's a coked up idiot, and the other's just a milk toast, basically. The closest this guy comes is to Eric Idle's character in Nuns on the Run. Right. If he channeled that, it'd have been, you might have actually gone, oh, actually, yeah, he's a bit of a laugh, isn't he? But he doesn't. He's just too shrill and awful. I got through this somehow, but no. But Rich, I'm gathering that you're a bit more sympathetic towards this film. So did you get any? You got some enjoyment out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny that like 40 years from Reservoir Dogs. What is it? Is it 40 years or is it?
No, it was.
Was it 30 years?
About 35.
It was 1992, wasn't it? Yeah. So 2000.
Yeah, 31.
31 years. 31 years. Sorry, yeah, so not 40 years. But still, back in the 90s, you would have expected to see this, and it's like it was just par for the course. And it's quite funny that we're still. I mean, there are other Tarantino sort of imitations, and that's still coming from that period, but you don't see him so common. And this one just seems so embedded in it. It just sort of seems really a bit surprising. Which I'm not completely against. They do at least acknowledge it. There's a throwaway line to mention the movie. I think that the thing that is more detrimental than the Reservoir Dogs thing is the fact that it's very similar to a film I mentioned earlier, which is called The Cottage, which was by Paul Andrew. Yeah, it was with Andy Serkis and Reece Shearsmith and Jennifer Ellison, and it basically the exact same setup. Two guys, hiding out in a house in the middle of nowhere with a female hostage. In that case, played by Jennifer Ellison. That was a much better film. Yeah, it was a good. That was a good quality film. I actually saw it. I think it did get a cinema release, that one, because Paul Andrew Williams had done films like London's Brighton and that. And he was sort of. I haven't heard of him much lately, but this was kind of a left. I remember the thing when this came out. it was kind of a left field kind of expect. It was like, what? He's gone from that to this, but it was very entertaining. And Reece Shearsmith was on the rise and stuff. Anyway, so that's the key problem, is that this film has already been done better more than once.
In Bruges.
There's definitely similarities to In Bruges.
Big chunk of In Bruges is basically that.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah. But I will say, for what it is, okay, it's too long. I mean, it shouldn't be as long as it is. And some of the twists and stuff just don't work. There's a lot of padding in there. But I didn't mind the banter. I thought that was okay, and sometimes that can be enough. I do think it would have been better as you know, like either a much shorter film or a short film. I think it would have worked better that way. But still, you've got that originality issue of that it's not bringing really anything new to the table. As an homage, yes, fair enough. Okay, it's like a Tarantino homage, which again, we've seen a million of them, so it's not really bringing anything new to the table there. But I quite liked it. You know, I don't watch that many films from Ireland, so the accents and the dialogue is sort of a bit sparkier because it's, you know, not what you're used to hearing. It's not a bunch of Americans or whatever. So that gave it a bit of freshness that I was able to connect with. But yeah, I don't really get the title, I'm afraid, the Wickedly Evil title, because there's not really anything, you know, that dramatically evil. There are horror elements, but you know, it doesn't really deserve the title. The alternate title, which is a bit more playfully silly, is Bad Things in the Middle of Nowhere, which I think actually works better. I think that would be better because it sort of tells you a bit more of what you're going into. Whereas Wickedly Evil is kind of it's you know, it's got a humorous bent to it, so you can go, oh, it's a little bit of comic here, but it sort of leans into either some more like extreme behavior, like a Very Bad Things kind of thing, but it doesn't really go there. Really, it's literally just a few guys hanging around and you know, waiting it bickering out essentially for the most. Bickering. So yeah, it's not something I'd highly recommend, but I didn't hate it. You know, it passed the time. It was okay. I didn't mind it for what it was, and I just think it's just a shame. The performances I thought were fine.
Performances were okay. I mean, given the material.
There's that great moment. There's a great moment where the girl who's been kidnapped, like headbutts the guy. I think he headbutts the cokehead guy like twice. Which I thought was great. I really liked that moment.
The bit I did like, and I suppose it was a nod to Pulp Fiction, was at the beginning when she shoots up the pair of them, and we're watching the cokehead guy, and he's like checking himself to see if he's been shot, and then he punches her.
You know what? You're right.
And it's then that he realizes that it wasn't him who got shot; it was the guy behind him. So he's like, "Oh shit!" But that bit did work for me. But the thing is, and this could be age and the fact that I've watched too many fucking films, but I'm becoming less and less forgiving about silliness in scripts, right? So here's an example. We get the opening, we get the police radio and everything telling us, oh, there's shots fired, all the rest of it, man down, all this. And then we get two of the two brothers basically just coming out of this place with their bag of loot, wearing these green tracksuits with lizard masks, which were meant to have been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle masks. So it's kind of like the joke in Baby Driver.
Yeah, Mike Myers.
Yeah, no. So there's a joke from like as you say, Baby Driver, when it's supposed to have the Michael Myers masks and we've got Mike Myers masks instead. But is it the time and place when you got the cops closing in on you and you're trying to make you escape to start bickering about the bloody masks and having a discussion about who's the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
It's that stupid. Well, there's the pop culture kind of stuff, and it's the dash of Guy Ritchie stuff, isn't it? It's just being a silly Guy Ritchie kind of movie.
Yeah, but I mean, it takes me out of the film though. It's like you're not taking anything seriously here. You're the only guys in the neighborhood with fucking guns and wearing green tracksuits. You look as conspicuous as hell, and you stood in the middle of the street, just nattering on. when you should be trying to get away. It's ridiculous, and it annoys me. It annoys me a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no in media res or like character title
That
cards.
is true.
So...
Yeah, that is very true. Yeah, I was thinking earlier that if the next Fast and Furious movie has in media res, that's it. I'm out. Anyway, no, you're absolutely right. But at the same time, there's no elevator fight or kitchen fight. So
Or a helicopter crash.
Yeah, it kind of balances out. Unfortunately, there are elements here which could have worked, but the familiarity of it mixed with the sort of Chuckle Brothers approach just didn't do it for me at all. How about you, Steve?
No, it weren't for me.
All right. In that case, what are you going to score it?
I'll give it a 5.
I'm going to join you on a 5. Rich, can you do any better?
No, I mean, I'm not as down on it, but I still think a 5 is reasonable. I think it's not really bringing enough to the table.
It's not everything behind the camera. Everything behind the camera was fine. The camera work was great. The lighting was great.
It's finely made.
All the rest of it technically got no issues.
Clearly on a low budget, and they've done quite well with that, I think.
It's the script. It's purely the script they decided to work with.
The concept and the script, yeah.
Exactly. All right, there you go. 3 5s for Wickedly Evil, also known as Bad Things in the Middle of Nowhere. Go check it out. Our short shot this week is The Hatchling. 5 kids try to get a baby dinosaur back to its parents on a Jurassic reservation. Okay, you know what this felt like to me? It's like it's Saturday afternoon, and I'm flicking through the channels on the TV, and I happen to stumble across the middle of a what's the company called? Something like Buena Vista or DreamWorks,
Touchstone.
or something like that. Touchstone kind of family movie, and it's like halfway through, and they're just going to one of these sort of like inciting moments in the film. That's what it felt like. It was of that quality. It was very, very well done. I was very impressed that they went with a dinosaur that probably hasn't had its moment on screen yet. It was something akin to a giant aardvark or something like that, or giant sloth. And it looked great. The baby version, especially when it was interacting with the kids early on,
super cute.
It was really, really well done. The adults, the adult versions were great. There's this sort of really cool. It did have this sort of Spielbergian element with the mum. At one point going, "Oh my God, you're going to cost me my job," and the next minute, she's realizing that the guys turned up the door may not be from the Fish and Wildlife Department because one of them was wearing his badge upside down, which I thought was a nice little moment. So yeah, there's tons to like here out of this. Steve, what do you make them?
Yeah, it really did remind me of like a 80s family, action movie, something like. It kind of remember Bigfoot the Andersons. It kind of reminded me like that in a way, that kind of vibe. But yeah, I thought it was done really well. Performances were good. The thing that baffled me a bit was the ending with the older woman. I don't know if she seemed shady or not. I couldn't get a grasp of it.
Well, she's got this reservation, but at the same time she's selling off the eggs or something.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, yay. On the other hand, oh.
Yeah. Just a little bit. It was a bit uneven, but no. Apart from that, yeah, it was great. It wasn't what I expected in a way.
Indeed, I was expecting, I don't know, T-Rex or Velociraptor or something to pop out. But yeah.
With just the name, I was expecting more of a horror vibe rather than family friendly adventure vibe more than that. But no, I was pleasantly surprised.
Rich, you curated this one for us. What could you tell us about it?
Well, I don't really know much about it. It's just kind of one of those films that I came across as I was looking through what new releases there had been lately, checking on the old IMDb, I think. And, it's one of those ones you come across the poster and you look it up and I was like, oh, that looks quite interesting. And it's literally just came out in October. And it says it's like a new original story. It's like an all new adventure thing. And it doesn't seem to be related to anything, although it does look familiar. I think it's very close to being a fan film, but they've intentionally tried to not say it's a fan film. But it's not. It's basic. Imagine it's set in the world of Jurassic World Dominion.
It could easily be that, yeah.
Because this film has no context whatsoever for what is actually happening, so you kind of have to borrow the context from Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
and
you could easily believe that the mum is working for InGen, and all this sort of stuff, and there's these,
or even it was a completely detached thing, like where the Lost World went at the end of it, and the idea was, the dinosaurs are on, on dry land, running around in people's gardens.
Well, that's what we get, isn't it? That's what we get right at the beginning, because it's definitely set in a world where people are used to these creatures, possibly being a nuisance, a new domestic nuisance sort of thing, or a suburban nuisance, because there's like a trio of these sort of mini dinosaurs that almost get run over right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like, pesky things, get out of the way, beep, 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 all that. So yeah, it's definitely, set in that sort of world for sure.
Yeah, and with Jurassic World Dominion, they did their own short film, The Battle at Big Rock.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is very good. If people haven't seen it, that's like the big blockbuster movie equivalent of a short film compared to this, which is very much they've worked their heart and soul and every single penny they've got to try and pull this thing together. I think it's good. So I think it does take a risk by jumping in with no context or whatever. And I think you almost have to lean on the Jurassic World movies
not even just the Jurassic World, but the concept of the family kids movie.
Definitely.
The kids doing something nefarious that the adults don't want them to do, kind of thing.
Very much a throwback to all the Goonies and all that sort of stuff. I thought the visual effects were really good, which is a key aspect of it. The little hatchling himself, he's just super cute. It's like really well rendered, really well realized. The kids themselves are, you don't get to know them. There's no sort of establishing, because you're literally thrown right into the situation of they're going, they're coming to get it, run around, they're arguing between themselves and trying to deal with the situation. It's great. It's only 10 minutes. Dinosaurs are sort of, quite a popular area for short films, both in terms of Jurassic World, Jurassic Parky kind of fan films, and also films like Hell Creek, which use time travel and dinosaurs and stuff.
But what's good about this, because they have come up with a unique dinosaur that, as I said, hasn't had its moment on screen. No one can say, "Oh, you've just sort of copy and pasted from another film or anything like that," or taken a previously rendered design and just sort of stuck it in there. Clearly they've had to sort of model this themselves and all the rest of it. And I think they do a great job of it. Absolutely.
Well, that's what I thought when the sort of parent dinosaur comes out and it's got these arms coming out of the front, and I was just like, I wasn't sure, is this an imagined creature or is this literally a real dinosaur? So I've not looked into it.
No, that's why I said it might be
that much about dinosaurs.
It looks like it's some sort of, as I say, a sloth or a aardvark kind of thing, because it's got those claws for destroying like termite hills and stuff like that. So, but anyway,
So this is from. So the company that made this is called Mesozoic Pictures. They previously did like a 2-minute fake newsreel kind of sequence, I think, that's on YouTube. So I think this is their first narrative, like for a proper sort of narrative film, effort. So I think they bang out the gate with something really solid here. Really looking forward to whether that because the film is very much open ended, so there is a chance that they could develop this story, return to these characters, or go off in a different direction. I think they're very much interested, as the name of their company indicates, very interested in dinosaurs. So I think that's where the future of whatever they do next will lay. I'm super hyped to see what they do next.
Awesome. Okay, we don't score the shorts, but we do recommend you check them out. If you like dinosaurs, you will absolutely love this. If you like kids' movies, you'll absolutely love this. Go check it out. You'll find a link in the footnotes below. Our DTV throwback this week is Double Edge. Robbers, drug dealers, and pimps are being killed in the streets. Quinn, a policeman with a mysterious past, is on the case. Now, I curated this one for once. I came across the poster for this, which I thought was crazy in itself because it is clearly ripping off Cobra.
It's like literally the Cobra poster.
It is literally, and I thought it was a Bollywood movie at first because the guy does look kind of Indian. It turns out what this is it's a Filipino action movie, which has been redubbed and it's been packaged right from the off to mimic the American style, So it's kind of in the Roger Corman sort of field of when he was over there, sort of making films like Barbed Wire Dolls and things like that. And even you think about the sort of the Italian films, which are also sort of mimicking things at the time. You kind of get this sort of mishmash between the two because our hero Quinn, he definitely has a bit of Italiano about him in his looks as well. I just absolutely love this. I mean, it's absolutely done. The dubbing at times is atrocious. At times they've definitely got Filipino actors dubbing the voices in English, which sounds very strange when you've got this sort of burly black guy speaking with a very high pitched voice in English. It's very strange. It's very violent, quite nihilistic at times, but it's a classic 80s style picture. I've really got on with it. Steve, how about you? Did you enjoy Double Edge?
I did, but possibly for the wrong reasons. I mean, it is terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. But entertainingly so.
It's hilarious. I mean, I think the only decent thing that they managed is the explosions, because everything, when it blows, you know what I mean? It's like the petrol station, fight, gunfight. It's not a petrol station. It's balsa wood with a couple of windows stuck in. There's no money involved at all. They've made it for 20 quid and a packet of fags. Yep. And I mean, I'm not being funny. A cop who's also an undercover ninja.
Genius. I should point out the German title for this was Night of the Ninja 2.
Right.
So presumably there's another one like this somewhere.
I'll be honest. I didn't see the ninja twist coming.
No, neither did I.
I was like, I really should have, because otherwise the whole film was just feeling like a complete mess. It was like, why am I watching a cop movie that keeps turning into a ninja movie? And it's like,
I mean, that was the thing. I mean, to me, I'll be honest, it was obvious that it was him.
Yeah,
it really was. But when he just turns up, I'm like, what? Where's this ninja just appeared from? Because there's no, I mean, all I've got to go off is the poster, which is
it's Cobra. Cobra. I thought that's what we were getting. Is a straight up, Cobra ripoff.
I mean, in a way, you kind of do. He's the cop who was outside the what, but he's also secret ninja. I'm like,
And it goes full ninja at the end, doesn't it? It's like,
it
goes full on ninja.
Yeah, baby traps, everything.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the amount of traps that he managed to set, so that people went in exactly the same. People went to exactly the points that he needed them to for those traps to work.
You think about it. It took Kevin McAllister a full day. I mean, it must have took him 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's over the top. But it is kind of fun.
I mean, when I was thinking about it, I thought, actually the title's actually really smart. You know, it's like the whole double edge, the sword, and you know he's got a double life and whatever. I thought that's actually pretty good. So I say because I didn't quite understand what was happening. It was kind of just I was just watching it as a mess, and then to have that twist revealed, I was like, oh, okay, that's quite I quite like what they've done there. And it was just the way it shifts from being this cop movie to just like full on showdown, Sho Kosugi kind of movie. Was it like one of the canon ninja movies kind of thing. Was just sort of left field, but for the most part is very not just the cover indicates, but there's various other scenes as listed in the review by Comeuppance Reviews, that there's so much Sylvester Stallone riffing in this. They put in some Rambo sort of stuff. There's like training montages that are a bit, not just ninja kind of stuff, but the more like Rocky kind of training sequences. I did half expect him to sort of pull out a pair of scissors to cut his pizza, but unfortunately that never happened. But he does wear his glasses like all the time, including at night, indoors. Which I don't know if he did that in Cobra, but in this one he barely takes them off, which was quite amusing. I thought the police lieutenant who was just chewing him out in a really, really like over the top way was pretty good. In, like you say, it's very cheap locations. It's literally just like a bog standard real world corner office, like no production values at all or whatever, nothing like you would expect to see in Hollywood where everything's designed and you've got like really nice cubicles and stuff. But yeah, it's shot on a budget, made by Teddy Page, who actually recycled footage from this as well as other films into another film called Lethal Killing Machine, also known as Crime Stopper, a few years later. I think he did that with a lot of his films. I'm not overly familiar with Teddy Page's stuff. No,
he's got 31 directing credits to his name.
But like you were saying before, I think it's very much of the Cirio Santiago sort of era of filmmakers who was just sort of, shooting stuff on a budget and patchworking it together, or the Richard Harrison stuff that was being done in Hong Kong, kind of taking all this stuff and reworking it. So I think, it's flawed. There's a lot of, it's low budget. There's a lot of issues with it. But it was I found it quite surprising and amusing and, actually quite rewarding overall. So I was like, I'm glad I've seen it. I've never heard of it. It's very obscure. But glad somebody's put it, because I don't even know if it actually had a UK release. I mean, it's listed on IMDb as having Double Edge as the UK release title, but there's no listing on the BBFC or anything. No. So whether it actually did come out under a different, perhaps even another title,
it did have a few names from what I understand.
Good find.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. It was very silly. It was that period, 1985. You can expect, sort of ninja films, very much in the Enter the Ninja kind of style, I guess.
Well, we watched New York Ninja, didn't we, a while back at the Fighting Spirit, and this is very much like that. I mean, that's what that film was throwing back to, and actually literally was in some sense, because it was actually the real footage, but with the dubbing track and everything, it all feels, and with the absurdity of some of the twists.
Absolutely.
It's
a fun one.
It is.
So as Rich said, there's no official release of this as far as we know, but we did come across a decent screener on YouTube, and we shall put a link to that in the footnotes. If you're interested, go check it out. That is the end of this particular show. So thanks, guys, for reviewing these films. Kind of bummed that I didn't get a chance to see Desperation Road. Kind of bummed that I did get to see Wickedly Evil. But there you go. We had some good ones last week. This week, not so much. I think the short shot and the throwback saved this week for sure.
Before we go, there's just one more thing on Double Edge I want to say. Did either of you get really sort of intrigued and excited when you saw Ken Watanabe?
I did. Yeah,
turn up
when
in
I
the
saw the
credits.
name. Yeah,
but it's not that. It's not that. Ken
not
Russell,
the,
is it?
not the Ken.
It's not the one we're familiar with from
No.
all the Christopher Nolan films and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's another guy with the same name.
And this is unless he was like 5 at
Yeah.
the time. Something. Yeah.
Oh, and the fact that the kid,
Hmm.
because there was the whole thing at the beginning of the kid's parents get killed and stuff, which I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop on that, but literally the boy is the cop, so his race changes because the boy was clearly local.
Yeah.
So that was quite funny because I was just thinking, what? That makes no sense. But then I saw his parents and I was thinking, well, he could be adopted. That would make sense. But then it was like, no. Anyway, there's a lot to enjoy about this film.
Indeed. Yeah, go check it out. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter at the DTV Digest. Also the Short Shots, where we check out some short films. And Rich will put a new link to a short every evening around about 8 o'clock. Thank you for listening. As soon as you can. I mean, we've got hundreds on there now, haven't we? I mean, just you're bound to have missed some. Go scroll
over
back through. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time.
Thank you for listening to the DTV Digest. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tune in again next time.